Yeah.
Just going up real quick. Should have been a cop. Fuck hip hop. You playing that shit right there.
Hell yeah, man. Like I said, man, this shit is fire, baby. I think this album right here, I enjoyed the most, man.
Or the ESQ joint. Yeah,
Yeah.
ESQ joint is crazy.
I enjoyed that the most.
So have you heard Glory all the way through yet?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay, you did.
Yeah, I heard everything. Only one I missed, I believe, was Live from the 215.
Got you.
And
got you. Yeah, ESQ is tough. ESQ is tough.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna get flagged for playing none of this music, right?
No. This is my shit. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, a couple of times I got flagged for playing music in the background. You know what I mean?
No. We good. We official tissue.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just talk for a minute on IG. Before we bring you in, I'm gonna let some people get into the room. You know what I'm saying?
I already sent the request, so whenever you're ready to let me in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
Do What I Want to Do.
Ooh.
Looney.
Yeah. You mixing and matching. That's what's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pro Bono, the joint. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that. I like this album.
Oh, well, now a couple of Johns. Well, Looney and Do What I Want to Do. That's from Expect the Unexpected.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
I'm saying you mixing and matching a little bit. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good though.
You're right, because you know what? I just put everything on one big playlist.
Right.
So I'm just shuffling. You know what I mean?
What's up? That's a good thing.
Yeah, but I'm going back and forth between Esquire and Expect the Unexpected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's up?
Word. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oddcast Podcast. We on IG Live right now and also YouTube Live. You know what I mean? As we said, we're gonna be live with the brother Tracey Lee. In a second here, just gonna let a few people come into the room, you know what I mean? That's all. But like I said, all my subscribers and all my followers, shout out to y'all, man. We just hit 1,100 followers today. Salute y'all. Thank y'all, man. You know what I mean? We can't do it without y'all. So we gonna try to keep bringing y'all the dopest content possible. You know what I mean? Word. Yeah. This cat is associated with dudes like D-Dot, the Mad Rapper. You know what I mean? P. Diddy. You know what I mean? Guys like Mark Pitts. You know what I'm saying? Just listening to some of his music in the background here. But like I said, shout out to everybody that's been following, man. Like I said, 1,100 followers, man. Salute y'all. That's something small, but that's big to us. Shout out to my man T Nitty. Shout out to my man 1010 Wins, my man Jay. Philly is in the building. Word. Shout out to my man Jay on the assist with this whole thing right here, man. Word. You know. Just letting some folks join in. But yeah, YouTube, yeah, like I said, man, you know, I'm gonna be going back and forth, man. But like I said, we live with Tracey Lee. Shout out to my man Outstanding from the Boulevard Mossy that just joined. Peace, God. Yeah. Salute to you, Out, man. You be like corresponding with me, man, giving me that OG history, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, you already know. Oh man, this cat got a joint about Howard girls. He went to Howard University, HBCU. Shout out to Howard University. Anybody that went to Howard, salute to y'all. Salute to my Morgan State listeners and followers, y'all mean. Shout out to all the HBCUs. Word. My man Outstanding said, this is a valid guest right here. Word. Salute. My man is official, man. Hopefully y'all gonna get to learn a lot about him tonight, man. You know what I mean? Those that didn't know, man. Those that already know, then hey, it is what it is. But yeah, definitely. I've been blessed to have some official guests on here, man, for real. And this cat is definitely an elite. Crazy Cat catalog. From the Boulevard Marcy, yeah. No doubt. Word. 97, he came out with that joint. It's party time. You know what I mean? It was all over the radio, a smash hit. Power 99, all of that. Radio stations everywhere. Nationwide was rocking that. Y'all remember that? Yeah, this man is on with the Oddcast podcast tonight, for real. Word. Yeah, man. Grown man music right here, y'all. Y'all gotta check his catalog. Check his catalog, baby, for real. This is what the game been missing right here, man. Yeah, my man Outstanding said, keep your hands high. Y'all already know. One of the few cats to get a feature with Biggie. So that already lets you know the caliber. For real. But I think I'm gonna bring the brother in, man. He been waiting patiently. Let me see. I'm gonna bring you in on live here.
Got feedback? Hold on. Let me see. Wait a minute. Let's cut this down. Hold on.
Yeah, I got you. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we got Trey Lee in the building. We just having some technical difficulties. We trying to maneuver real quick.
All good. Let me turn that around. There we go.
Okay.
What up?
What's good with you, brother?
Hey, man, all is well, man. All is well. You know, just getting me and my family ready for the, you know what I mean, for the holidays. Oh, that's all. How about you, man? How you?
Oh, man, the same thing, man. I've been maintaining, man, you know.
Yep.
Blessed to be here, man. 2020 has been a rough year, but like I said, we're gonna have a small gathering, you know, with the family. Very maybe 4 or 5 of us.
Right.
So
I mean, it's always good to, you know what I mean, be able to for you know, just even the small amount of loved ones that you're able to get together with, man. That's always a blessing, man. So salute to that. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, man. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I want to welcome Tracey Lee to the Oddcast podcast tonight, y'all. For real, salute, man. We got a real OG, a real legend in the building. My man was saying it's an echo. Do you hear an echo when I'm talking, bro?
No, not really. Hold on. Let me cut that down. All right, cool. We good.
Okay.
We should be good.
Okay.
See if they hear echo now.
Yeah, y'all let us know.
Yeah. I see my man Marlon stepped in the building. Marlon Rice, what's good, brother?
Salute definitely. Yeah, you know Marlon?
Yeah, that's the homie right there, man. We did an interview last year in Brooklyn, man. It was a beautiful thing. I mean, we really talked about a whole lot of stuff, man. So salute to that brother. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta check that out. Me and him went to school together. We went to Morgan together, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of y'all Morgan cats, man. My wife is from Baltimore too, so you know I got a bit of and my man played ball there back in the day. My man T. Wright, so I got a bit of an affinity for Morgan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We out here. Morgan is out here, just like Howard, man. We kind of like distant cousins a little bit.
Yeah. My man Jay Brown, my man, you know what I mean? Kill, my man Kill.
Definitely.
Like, it's a small world, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely, man. So yeah, like I said, I just want to thank you for coming on the show, man, and taking time out to talk to the people tonight, man. But you know, you've had a lot of accomplishments in the game and everything. But before we start talking about what you're doing now, I want to take everybody back to like where it all started, man. Growing up in Philly. You from Philly, correct?
Absolutely.
Definitely. What part of Philly did you grow up in?
Southwest, but really a bit of everywhere, man. I went to Girard College, which is up North Philly. You know what I'm saying? It's the school with the big wall around it, man. And back in the day, you know what I'm saying, we used to think that the wall, it's a boarding school. It goes from first grade to 12th grade. You know, it started off as being an all white, you know, made for all white orphans. This was like back in the 1800s, you know what I'm saying? And so you know, after the civil rights movement, they started letting us in, you know what I mean? And so now the school is like 99% black, you know what I mean? But it definitely helped shape the foundation of who I am, you know what I'm saying? Like I got lifelong brothers and sisters that come from that school, you know what I'm saying? Because we all live together, you know what I mean? Right. And it's basically based, it was established for single parent households, you know what I mean? To lend that type of assistance, you know what I mean? And tuition free. I mean, it really changed my life, man. Because you know, by the 6th, 7th grade, when you're going through that whole puberty stage, you know, you tend to you could veer left or veer right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so my mom kind of recognized that, being as though, you know, at the time, you know, single parent household. So, you know, somehow, you know, God, I'm a very spiritual cat. So it's like God kind of, you know, showed her some things, and she found this school in one of them good housekeeping magazines, you know what I mean? And so the rest is history. I started going there about the 7th grade, graduated, you know what I'm saying? And then eventually went to Harvard and all that. But, you know, that really made up my foundation, you know what I'm saying? It really helped pay, you know, kind of pave the way for my foundation, you know what I'm saying?
All right. So did you play sports or anything like that as a kid?
Absolutely. I play ball, play basketball, play baseball, big baseball fan. You know what I mean? Not a lot of brothers you know, hip to that game, but actually that was the first game that I ever loved, you know what I mean? Growing up. But got a scholarship playing basketball and baseball, but they were at like, I think basketball was D2. I want to say baseball was D3. And so it was like, if it wasn't D1, I wasn't going down that path, because I had another passion, which is also the music, you know what I'm saying? And so it was like, you know, you know, I went to the camps and all that. I played against like Christian Layton and all these other cats, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, if it wasn't D1, and I guess that was my ego. If it wasn't, I didn't want to work, you know what I'm saying? So if it wasn't D1, then I'd take my talents elsewhere and start exploring my other passion, which was the music side, you know what I'm saying?
All right. So before you got into hip hop and all that, what kind of music were you listening to as a kid? You know what I mean?
Oh man, all the greats, man, from Stevie, and you know, you know him by first name, Stevie, Marvin, Donnie. You know what I'm saying? Curtis, Michael, you know what I mean? Prince, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Shaka, you know what I'm saying? Like, those were the people that I, you know, that I grew up listening and loving, you know, and I was even into gospel music, you know what I'm saying? From the Clark sisters to Andre Crouch to Edwin and Walter Hawkins, like, you know, and these were, you know, just people that were played in my household. Al Green, you know what I'm saying? And so these are the sounds that you'll probably hear in a lot of my music now, you know what I mean? Because those are the sounds that made up, and James Brown. And truthfully, these are the sounds that made up hip hop. You know what I'm saying? You know, hip hop is a hodgepodge, and we just took all of that and created our own form of expression. You know what I mean? So, you know, it didn't divvy too far from, you know, from the first time that I heard, you know what I mean, Rapper's Delight, which is really where, you know, my love for hip hop music. I believe that the culture, you know, us growing up, you know, being born in the late 60s, late 60s, early 70s, we were already, you know, born into the culture. We were already a part of the culture, and just everything started to develop after that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, our generation definitely, you know, was the hip hop generation. You know what I mean? Like everything before that was like definitely soul music. And you was mentioning those artists, those great artists. I could definitely feel that listening to your music, listening to your whole catalog. So
Sound of Philadelphia, I'd be remiss. I have to mention Sound of Philadelphia, Gambling Huff. Gotta mention that. You know what I mean? Tom Bell, gotta mention that. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. So when did you realize, or at what age did you realize that you wanted to rhyme?
I think initially it had to be, again, we got to go back to Rapper's Delight, because for most of us that lived outside of New York City, you know what I'm saying, Rapper's Delight was like the first record that most of us, you know, heard. Super Rhyme and Rapper's Delight. So, but and I always had an affinity for it from then. But I think when I wanted to seriously start, you know what I'm saying, taking this on as a profession, like I really wanted to be a professional MC probably at the age of 12. And it really started with like Melly Mel, you know what I'm saying? Because Mel was the first person that I heard that wasn't doing the hip, the hop to the hip it and throw your hands in the air. Like he was giving you narration, you know what I'm saying? He was giving you visual, you know, the visual aspect of the words. So it really started with that, with the message. And then it was Tila Rock. That was the next phase, because Tila Rock with the It's Yours record, right? It's Yours was a record. The beat was hard. You know, Rick Rubin killed that. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the first time I ever heard a bounce like that. You know what I'm saying? Between that and Sucker MCs, like as far as, you know, using the drum machine. You know what I mean? It wasn't a sample type of thing. It was really the drum machine that was the driving force of those tracks. So, you know, and then Tila Rock was coming in with the commentating, illustrating. Description giving. You know what I mean? I'm like, woo, do you hear the words this man is using? But then what topped it off was LL Cool J. LL Cool J brought the superstar aspect of it. You know what I'm saying?
True indeed.
Along with the rhyme skill, along with the vibrato, along with the, you know what I mean, just the moxie. He was the first real superstar of rap. You know what I'm saying? Curtis Blow came before him, but that was like kind of like the inception. And LL just took that ingredient and just took it to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? So those are the three influences to me. So you talking about between 82 and 84, when I really was like, all right, it's time to get it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
So were you like writing rhymes down on a pad, or were you like coming off the top of the dome?
Nah. I've always been a writer. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a phase probably when I got to college, you know what I'm saying? When I was at Howard and I got around, you know, a group of my peers, you know what I'm saying? The cats that, you know, that went along on this journey with me once I got signed. You know, you're talking about Power Move, which included a group called One Step Beyond. And then eventually we Voltroned into R&F, which also, you know, was a group called The Reaps out of the South Bronx. And so I think during that phase, it was, you know, I experimented with freestyling and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I liked it. I loved it too. You know what I'm saying? But I think primarily throughout my career, man, I just been, because I've been fascinated by words and fascinated by, you know, being able to use words in the right context. You know what I'm saying? And have people, you know, listen to the music and listen to me say a certain word and be like, damn, what the hell does that mean? And actually kind of look it up and find out you know, what it means and in what context I use it and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, but again, you know, these are this is what an MC does. An MC can do it all. But if you're asking me my preference, I love to write. You know what I mean?
All right. So choosing the name, what made you go with Tracey Lee as your government name, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what made did you go through like name phases, or?
I've only had 3 names in my life. And Tracey Lee was not my idea, but it wound up being the best decision that was ever made for me. You know what I'm saying? But it started off as MC Lee. You know what I'm saying? I was a part of a crew called the MC5. When you talking about, like I said, we going back. So we talking like 82, 83, you know what I mean? Then I broke off from that group, started another group called the Jazzy 3, you know what I'm saying? And so that's when I changed my name from MC Lee to L Rock. And so that was around age 15, you know what I mean? 15, 16. And that name stuck with me until I actually got the deal. You know what I mean? Once I got the deal, and shout out to Derek D. Angeletti. And for those that don't know who that is, I mean, if you are an aficionado of hip hop, you should know what that is automatically. He did records called, you know, The Benjamins, Hypnotize, you know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, you know, Where I'm From, the list goes on and on. But he's the one, you know, that kind of told Mark Pitts, who also went to Howard, we all went to Howard together.
Right.
He's the one that hit Mark Pitts to, the fact that, I got busy, you know what I mean? And so when we finally signed the deal, they felt like, again, this was a great idea, but at the time I was resistant. It was like, nah, we can't really market L Rock. You know what I'm saying? That's old school, Like, we got to come up with something else, man. And so, they were the ones that was like, yo, you need to change your name, just Tracey Lee. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm not changing. No, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, and of course, me and my crew, we so, just adamant about staying the way we are at that particular time that we were all like, nah, I'm not changing the name. But, I actually, and the person that told me that, or gave me the, not the blessing, but really convinced me to change the name was my mom. Because I talked to my mom about it. I was like, they got the nerve to want to, she was like, well, what they want to change the name to? I said, Tracey Lee. Like, yeah, that's a great name. It's like, how can you say that? I gave you that name.
Right.
Said, okay.
Hey.
You know what I mean? So that was it from there, man. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. That's what's up. Shout out to Mom Deuce, man. Moms ain't never gonna steer you wrong, man. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Mom's gonna keep it a buck with you every time.
Facts.
So now that you're signed, man, talk about recording your first album, Many Faces.
Things happen so fast. So I signed that deal in April of 1996. And the theme started getting played probably about the end of October 1996. And so if you think about it, nobody knew who I was. And for a person that just got signed, was that 5 months earlier, to now have a record being played on Power 99, Hot 97, that's kind of unheard of. So because, and keep in mind, this was probably like the third attempt to create a record that we could service to DJs, because I had already, like I said, with Power Move and my crew, we had already, had created a catalog of work that actually was the work that got us signed. So we already had stuff in the stash. So now, but I guess in our labels' minds, that really wasn't supposed to be the records that were supposed to be used on this album, which they wound up, being on the album, at least a lot of them. We're thinking, we're gonna have some time to kind of cultivate this thing, you know what I'm saying? Get a single out there popping, and then from there, kind of create another single and all this other stuff. So it first started off, the first record I did was a record called Showtime while I was signed. And Showtime featured the likes of one Miss Faith Evans. And so that record was hard. You know what I'm saying? That record was hard, but we gave it to the New York DJs, Clue and Flex and all of them. And they was like, nah, that ain't, we're not playing that. So then I made another record called I Like It Like That. You know what I mean? Which sampled the D'Angelo sample, the lady sample. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So we knew that was out of here. Like, matter of fact, I gave that record to Kid Capri. Gave the record to Kid Capri. He loved it. He was like, yo, when we blasting off with this? Gave it to some other people, but Kid Capri was ready to blast off with it. But the label this time was like, nah, because we can't clear the sample. You know what I'm saying? So then the third record we made was the theme, is Party Time. Now, the funny thing about that was when we created that record, I always wanted to use the Pieces of a Dream. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mount Airy Groove, because that was home team. And I always said that, when people hear me, I want them to know where I'm from. So I thought that, and plus that was one of them records that was played in the park jams, back in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was a situation where identifying that record, sampling that record, and then D-Dot took that record and then created this track that was just so infectious and so monstrous even to this day that me and him knew we had one. But the funny thing was, my crew was like, nah, that ain't it, Trey. That ain't that. You know, listen, and you can. And I see a couple people in here that was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? What up, Apollos? I see you in here. I thought I saw Lance up in here. It was a couple people. It was not, matter of fact, the majority of my crew was like, nah, that ain't it, Trey. Da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the minute we took that record and we gave it to DJs, right? So again, gave it to Clue. Nah. Gave it to Flex. Nah.
Really?
We might have gave it to Kev. Nah. Right? But the minute, and I'm talking about Cosmic Kev, but the minute we gave it to Cool DJ Red Alert. Shout out to Red Alert. Shout out to Uncle Red. Uncle Red heard the joint, was like, oh no, this is a smash. And the minute he said it, then everybody else fell in line.
See
you know
that?
What I'm saying? The minute he said it, everybody else fell in line. And so from that point on, it was on Make It or Break It. It was on, you know what I'm saying? Like, radio's still trying to test the waters on the record. Once the public got, the public is really, the people are really the ones that made that record what it is. Because we did not get the backing from even the label. The label was like, we ain't putting no money behind it. Y'all just gonna have to see what it is and just, kind of get it to the. So that's what we did. We brought it to, and the cosign from Red Alert started an avalanche. You know what I mean? And so after that, even cats that rock with me, and it was some ladies that were around at the time. When we first played that record in cars and stuff like that, like in a car and all that. They was like, nah, that ain't it. The minute it hit the radio, oh, that's my, that's my John. That's what, like, man, get out of here. So it just goes to show you the influence. Like more people are influenced by influencers than they are by their own ears. You know what I mean?
Word.
So going back to your question, once that record hit, it was like, okay, the label's like, oh, we got to speed up the process. Right? We got to speed up the process. We got to get an album out. But I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. You know what I mean? People don't know who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know this record, but that don't necessarily mean that there's going, people just going to jump out there and just go buy a whole project. We got to set this thing up.
Right.
But the label's philosophy was, while the iron is hot, we need to strike. So a lot of those records that we made that's on that Many Faces album were actually a part of demos that we were shopping back in 92, 93, 94. You know what I mean? So those records that when people finally heard them on that Many Faces album, those records were already 5 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's and my man Kill is in here. He'll attest to it. You know what I mean? Like, because he heard those demos. My man Apollos, he in here too. They heard those demos before it actually became a part of the album. They heard the ashy versions. They heard the, you know what I mean, the gritting, the tissue and the tape versions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, and I've heard a couple, people was like, yo, to them, the records had more feeling back then because we were in the trenches back then. So now you go from creating music when you're in a certain space, it sounds different than when you finally make it. You know what I'm saying? And then you're trying to recreate these records. You know what I'm saying? So, so basically, the label rushed themselves based off of the resurgence of that theme record. That theme record sped everything up. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what's up. Okay. So, real quick, you had you're one of the only rappers, not the only rapper, but you're one of the few rappers to do a collab with Big. You know what I mean? What was it like recording that song with Big, man? Because I saw something where you were describing how Biggie he really didn't use a pen, man. He really didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. I mean,
what was that like, bro? And who linked that together? Was it your Howard Associates or?
It was Mark Pitts. So Mark Pitts is the cat that I was signed to. He is the president and CEO of By Storm Entertainment. And so I was actually his first artist, or at least first hip hop artist that he signed. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so, he was managing Big at the time. You know what I mean? And so that was just a natural connection. He was like, I'm managing Big. This is my artist on the label. And I'll take it a step further. Beside D Dot, who was the main figure that got me signed, I want to say Big was a big assistant or in that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when Mark was listening to the demos, he would have Big in the car.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it was 3 records in particular. It was Rugged One, and no, 2 records. No, yeah, it was Rugged One, it was Repent, and it was this other record called No Doubt. And so, you know, Mark would play these records while he's in the car with Big. And, you know, Big, you know, with the one eye, like, you know what I mean, was listening to one of them Jones. He looked over at Mark, was like, yo, your man's nice. Yo, your man's nice. And so that at that point, I think Mark felt confident about sending me the paperwork. You know what I mean? And so, you know, when we get into Keep Your Hands High, you know, I think it was already kind of like, you know, on the setup. Like it was already on the setup. It was already like, yeah, the cat that I'm managing and the cat that's on my label, yeah, we're gonna do a record. So I get in the studio, I walk in there. We had D&D Studios with you know, which at the time was owned by Premier. Shout out to Primo. So I walk in there, you know, Big's already in there, and then Jay-Z's in there too. You know, he's still in Can't Knock the Hustle mode. He got on the fur and all of that, you know what I'm saying? But you know, he was in there, you know, rocking with Big. And I think Mark was trying to set up something where me and Jay did a record. But I think at the time, Jay felt like, at least this is what I heard, Jay felt like we didn't have nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? Because Jay was, you know, heavy into what he was doing and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so he leaves. Now it's just me and Big, you know what I mean? And so, you know, we get in there and Big is just giving me all this jewelry. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, we talking about the end of 96. We recorded that record December 6, 1996. And so Big is at the top of the food chain. You know what I mean? He's the creme de la creme. So for him to be able to kind of, you know, within this 8-hour session, we was in there like 8 hours, to kind of walk me through his career, walk me through, you know, certain things that he would encounter, the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the trials, the tribulations, and all that. And I'm just soaking all of this up. I'm like, yo, man's giving me game. He's giving me game right now. He's telling me what his future aspirations are, all of that. But in the midst of that, you know, we got a little Henny, you know what I mean? We got some medicinals, you know what I mean? We doing all that. And then you will see him kind of in the middle of the conversation, kind of sit back in his chair and just start doing this. The music's playing in the background, but he's just doing this. Then he would come back in the conversation, start talking, da-da-da-da-da. Then he would dip back out, start doing this. And so I'm peeping him, and I got my pen and my pad. I'm peeping him, and I'm looking at him. And so after like the 3rd time I saw him dip out, yo, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He said, no, chill. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then after about 8 hours, he goes, all right, I'm ready. I said, ready to do what? He said, I'm ready to go in the booth. Yo, and so I'm perplexed because I never saw anybody that did not have a pen and a pad at that time. I'm not saying that there weren't anybody before him that did it this way, but I never saw, especially when we started talking about creating songs, right?
Right.
So I'm like, yo, you not gonna write it down? He's like, nah, it confuses me. And I thought about it. I was like, what the hell does he mean? But I saw exactly what he meant later on, and I'll explain why. So then he gets in the booth, you know, he's in there and he's sitting down because he had just came off a car accident. He had just had a car accident. So his hip was still messed up and all that. So he's sitting down recording this joint. And so I just saw him walk the whole verse, all the verses down. He goes, F that, I preach it. My 9 reaches. All right, bring it back. Fuck that, I preach it. My 9 reaches, the prestigious. And so he kind of piecemeals it all the way down, right? And so after he was done, then we listened, and I'm like, yo, this shit is, what just happened? I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, what just happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also within that session, I know, matter of fact, if you were MC, right? If you were MC, you already competitive, right?
Right.
So even though he wasn't necessarily talking about me, he's also in the back of his mind, like, yo, I cannot, you know, first of all, it's a new cat. Second of all, I know he's nice. I'm not gonna let this dude, you know what I'm saying, just come in here and just like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if it's his record or not.
Right.
And so I felt the same way. I'm like, I respect Big, I like his records, but I don't care I don't care. Like, we MCs, we're gonna make first of all, the first objective is we're gonna make a hot record.
Mm-hmm.
The second objective is I'm gonna bite your head off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even though we're not really battling,
as y'all should.
I gotta have the better verse. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, and that's what you hear. You know what I mean? And that's what you hear when you're listening to the record. You know what I mean? Because he dug so deep on that second verse when he started talking about me and my nigga Lance took Kim and C's Vans,
yeah.
bricks. I'm listening to the joint. And I'm like, this the first time. It's kind of like he's telling you the story of how his business is and how he's. And I'm like, oh, word, that's what you doing? That's slick. That's hot too. That's hot. And so, and so that's what that whole experience is about. Now, going back to why he said, you know, the writing it down confuses him. If you listen to Big, I always tell people, Big is the most efficient MC ever. And what I mean by that is that he says more with less. So even the syllable structure, the words that he chooses to use, he can say in one word what most MCs got to use 5 or 6 words to say. You know what I'm saying?
Word
selection is stupid. You know what I mean? And if you think about it, people revere Big. Some people revere Big as the greatest of all time, and they basing it really off of 2 albums. Think about that. This cats with catalogs and shit. You know what I mean? You're talking about Nas, you're talking about Jay, you're talking about, you know what I mean? All these cats that you revere as the greatest of all time, he's in the conversation based off of 2 albums. If that ain't efficiency, I don't know what the hell is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, and so when he starts talking about, it confuses me because if you're writing it down, you're going from the head to the paper to the mic. So his whole thing is, let's cut out the middleman. Why do I need the paper? Especially the way I rhyme, especially the word selections that I use. And my shit is melodic. I'm going straight from here to here. I'm gonna write it down in here, but I don't have to transfer it here. I can transfer it to the mic.
Right.
And so that was the method to his madness. And eventually, like after I got out of law school, I started like one of those albums that you heard, Expected Unexpected. I didn't write anything down on that one. Now the new one, Glory, I wrote everything down because I wanted to document what I was saying. But you know, that Expected Unexpected album, I didn't write it down. And I can hear, you know, like throughout my career, though that particular album was in the framework. I'm not saying I sounded like Big at all, but it's in the framework of what he was doing, meaning saying more with less, more bounce, more melodic, you know what I'm saying? That kind of shit. So that was the method to that whole session. You know what I'm saying? And it was the greatest moment for me, educational wise, in my career as a signed artist.
That's what's up, man. So when y'all recorded that, was it like, did he just do like 1/16 and then you guys broke it up to where like he went and then you went and then you came, then he came with the second verse and then you went after, or how did that work?
Nah, we did it exactly like you heard it.
Oh, okay.
So basically he jumped in there, he did an 8. Then I jumped in there, I did my 16. Then he jumped back in there. It was a real back and forth. Then he jumped back in there, he did his 8. And then I jumped back in there and did my 8. And then he jumped back in there, did his 16. And to be honest, after he did that 16, I had another 8 that I was supposed to end it off on because the format of the song was 8, 16, 8, first verse. And then hook, and then coming back was 8, 16, 8, except in the opposite, right? So I had another 8 ready to go after that 16. But after he got all personal and shit, I'm like, yo, how the fuck I'm gonna compete with that? You know what I mean? So I had to, and plus his bounce on there, my bounce was a little different. And so I already, since we were already like in the middle toward the end of the song, I saw how this joint was flowing. So what I had before that last 8 was different than the flow that I heard the song going in. So I was like, nah, I need to match that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's when I came back like a week later and did that last 8. You know what I mean? So that's how that joint went.
All right. That's what's up. So what was the experience like when you recorded the remix with Busta Rhymes? What was that experience like?
Oh man, see, you about to get a story not most people get. All right, cool. So check this out.
All
Yo,
right.
John Doe, what's good, boy? Marshall, what's
Yeah,
good? I
before
see
you go on, it's a lot of people watching. I just want to give a shout out to my man, Undefeated 5'6". I want to give a shout out to Kill. I want to give a shout out to Eddie Got Soul as well.
Yeah. Hey, what's good, baby? Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's my apartment 5B dog peoples, man. Like, you know what I mean? Before I started doing this podcast, I was on that show, man. So, salute to those guys, man. They're the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
That's a hell of a show, yo. That's a hell of a show.
Word. Yeah, I got love for them dudes, man. I got to get back on there real soon, man.
Absolutely.
Word. Shout out to Young Guru that just joined. Okay. Yo, salute. Word.
Young Guru, what up, boy?
Yeah, so talk about the Busta experience, man. Recording that remix, man.
Oh man, so the Busta joint, the Busta remix was funny. So I'll tell you, Busta was not the first choice. So after the theme was killing the airwaves, right? It was like, okay, so we in a time where the remix, everybody's doing a remix. So it's like, all right, it's the natural progression. We got to do a remix.
Hell yeah.
So the first person that, Dot approached about doing a remix was Mace. You know what I'm saying? Because, we're already under the, quasi under the Bad Boy umbrella, if you will, because you got Mark Pitts who came from under that system. So boom, they thinking it's the easiest path to go to. Plus Mace is, piping hot at the time. So it's like, all right, let's get Mace. So then, Dot approached him about Mace, and then, Dot approached Mace about the remix. And so Mace, first question he asked was, and shout out to my man Nasheem who did the remix beat, which is fire to me, you know what I'm saying? But we approached Mace with the John. He was like, "Oh, y'all not using the original?" Nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That's what Mace said.
Okay.
So then it's like, all right, cool. So now we're going to Plan B. Plan B was Black Thought. Now, this is the Philly connection. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
You know what I mean? I meet up with Thought, blah. And so we talking about it. He's like, yeah, that record is fire. I was like, yeah, man, would love for you to get get on the joint. And so when I played him the beat, he was like, oh, y'all not using the original?
Oh shit.
Like, nah, I can't get on it. I can't get it. I said, ain't this a bitch? So then that's when Mark called Busta. And so Busta, and if you remember at the time, Busta was still, I make sure everything remains raw.
Yeah.
And he's still Dungeon Dragon.
This is the coming album was out.
What'd you say?
Probably the coming album was out.
Yeah. But Busta's energy is still But if you listen to this record, if you listen to the track doesn't call for
right.
We partying, but we not so
kind of laid back.
Look, Dot told him like, look, man, we need you to, you know what I'm saying, like, take it down some. And so if you listen to records after that particular remix, Busta kind of took that and ran with the next few. Put your hands where my eyes can see. All of them records that came all after that, because times were changing, things were changing, sounds were changing. And this remix was really like the catapult and the jumpstart to Busta changing his whole MO after that. You know what I'm saying? And for everybody who's listening, if you go back and listen to those records prior to the remix, and then listen to the records after the remix, you will definitely hear the difference. And so, Busta's an MC. So we, you knew he was going to do what he was going to do. It was just that, we need to change some tones, change some, you know what I mean? And so he hit it, killed it, and that was it. Somebody said, so why not use the original then? Well, I mean, and that's a viable argument, you know what I'm saying? I was not opposed to using the original, but the remix was hot too. And of course, I'm the artist, so it's like, you do a tug of war, you know what I'm saying? And I can't recall, all the conversations that were had at that time, but the remix was just hot. The remix was hot. We wanted to do something, and it still kept elements of the original. We still had the Pieces of a Dream record in there and all that, you know what I'm saying? So, but again, Busta came in, made it work. You know what I mean? And everybody loved it after that. So that was it. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. So album comes out in the stores. How does the album do sell wise and everything?
Well, there's some discrepancies about those numbers. And it was funny, and I'll keep this part of the conversation anonymous until I could get some actual paperwork done. But there were actually cats in the game that told us what those numbers were going to be before the official numbers actually came out. Now that was always odd to me, you know what I'm saying? Because that tells me that somebody is essentially manipulating what you're going to see on paper. Like, how do you know what the number is going to be before the week is done? You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? Before the numbers are actually tallied in, how are you going to tell me what the numbers are? Like, and that always stuck in the back of my mind. But anyway, there are certain publications that say, we sold to this day, you know what I mean? And the needle has not moved. Think about that. That we sold maybe like 370,000 copies. But I think if I did some digging, I'm almost certain that that album went at least gold worldwide. Okay. I'm almost certain. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, depending on who your resource is, and the funny thing about that is that, I think a couple years back, a lot of masters, there was a big fire out in California with Universal Records. And so there was a lot of masters that were burned, you know what I'm saying, that just lost. Like, there's no way to trace them. There's no way to find them, blah, blah, blah. So, I think a lot of my stuff is really just up in the air. You know what I mean? So when I say the theme, keep your hands high, eat, many faces and stuff, these records to me can't be defined by the sales. They're really defined by, like, when I walk out in the street, whether I be in Philly or I be in London or Paris or know some people in Johannesburg, they know this album.
It's the people.
And so, you know what I mean? Like, they know this album. And I get more accolades for this album now than I did back in 1997 because a lot of people say that the album was ahead of its time.
Yeah, it's definitely like not to cut you off, but listening to it again, it's like a rare gem. Like, wow, like, damn, this shit is fire.
Exactly. So, I can't really tell you what the numbers are, and I haven't, taken the time out to do the research, but I will once I get the time. Like, I'm gonna really do some deep digging. You know what I'm saying? But, so again, my guess is anywhere between 300,000 and 500,000 plus. You know what I'm
saying? I feel you. So why can't we find that album on iTunes?
Hey, who you asking? I don't own the master. See, that's a great question. I do not own the masters. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, and remember I told you, there was this big fire in California where a lot of the masters got burned. So I don't know who's in charge of the licensing. You know what I'm saying? Universal, obviously, but I don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger on putting it on all platforms. I know certain people have downloaded it, or should I say uploaded it in certain formats like Spotify. If you go on Spotify and you see the theme is spelled wrong. It don't have the album cover. You know what I'm saying? But people are streaming this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, it still gets kicked back to me because it's still in my portfolio. So I'm not tripping just yet. But I'm just like, yo, people at Universal are not like, I know they aren't responsible for this. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at like, licensing situations. And I know, when people do productions, they really read off of like a set list for, licensing for commercials or movies and shit like that. You know what I mean? Unless you have a personal relationship with somebody and say, cool, we want to use this for this flick, because, there's a lot of clearances that you have to go through in order to use a certain record, you know what I'm saying? Depending on, who owns the record, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, it's just odd to me with a lot of these things that come out, whether it be movies, commercials, you don't hear Party Time and nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, Party Time is like an easy attachment, if you will. You know what I mean? So, So your guess is as good as mine, brother. I don't know why
Mm.
it's not on iTunes. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you. So after that record's released and the success you had, you sort of took a break between recording that album and then 2014 coming out with the Esquire joint. Did you use that time? Was that the time that you utilized to get your law degree and all that?
Yeah, actually it was. And before we even get to me going to law school, I actually recorded.
Oh, okay, I mean to jump ahead.
No. But that's glad. I'm glad that you phrased the question like that, because that is a part of the missing piece. The missing piece is that I actually recorded another album under Universal, After Many Faces. And we talked about it offline. It was live from the 215.
Yes, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and for those people that don't know this, live from the 215 was done, completed, was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? We did advertisement and the Source and all the other publications, blah, 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 blah. It had a young Kanye producing on the album. You know what I'm saying? Before he became Kanye. It had Buckshot Shorty on there. It had Black Rob on the album. It had Corrupt on the album. I mean, the album is dope. My man Guru's on the album. You know what I'm saying? He mixed all of that album. You know what I mean? Yo, was that your first rule? If you still in here, was that your first mixing credit with regards to like entire album? Let me know. That I would like to know that. Was that the first album that you mixed in its entirety? Fat Man Scoop was on the album. You know what I mean? I shot a video called We Like, which introduced Ludacris for the first time. Nobody had ever seen Ludacris. It introduced Lil Jon for the first time. It was shot by Brian Barber, who is the director for Outkast, that did all of this stuff and did Idlewild and all that. So and let's go back a little bit. The remix to The Theme, the joint with Busta. That video was shot by Little X, who's now known as Director X.
Yeah, okay.
Which was actually his first video that he shot here in the States. He's from Canada.
Yeah, I know that. Okay, wow. Okay, I'm getting all the history tonight.
In the States. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Take it a step further, Ta-Nehisi Coates, you know what I'm saying, did a review on the album, which was actually his first article. Lance, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're still in here. But Ta-Nehisi Coates, he just did a special on HBO Max, I think, you know what I'm saying, about his book. I mean, he's one of the greatest writers of our time right now. But his first article, you know, per se published article, I think, write-up was on Many Faces. So there's a certain trend that's going on with regards to, you know what I'm saying, like projects that I've done and really being the springboard for a lot of the household names that people know today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So live from the 215 is done. Ready to go out. I get a phone call. I start doing I get on the road with a group called the Ram Squad. You know
okay, from Philly.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Projects, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we on the road doing promo, promoting the album. We get out of Miami, not with Ram Squad, but I got a show out in Miami, you know what I mean? It's raining out there, and this is a bit of an omen. So it's raining out there. We got a show. Wind up not doing the show gets canceled. You know what I'm saying? But tells us, yo, just stay out there, blah, 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 come on back. When we get back, Between the World and Me, thank you, Eddie, absolutely. Ta-Nehisi Coates, please, y'all go check that out on HBO Max. My Howard as well. Yo,
Good looking out, Eddie.
So we get back to JFK, I get a phone call. You know what I mean? I had to flip at the time. You know, I'm thinking, you know, I mean, this is 2000. I got the flip joints. Anyway, I get the call, and Universal's like, your services are no longer needed. We have a parting gift for you. I said, oh, shit.
Wow.
So now it's like immediately I freeze for a second. You know what I mean? And then it's like immediately my mind goes, what the hell I'm going to do? You know what I'm saying? So then, you know, I leave New York. I go back and live with my moms and shit. I'm sleeping on the couch. I only stayed there for like 3 months because mom's is like, nah, you can't stay here. Like, I don't care where you go, but you got to get up out of here.
You too wild.
Yeah. I mean, but that, I mean, shit, I'm 30 years old by then. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
yeah, she's right. So I go down to Atlanta. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Me and my brother get an apartment, and really that's where the soul searching begins. That's where, I'm really like, damn, I'm getting down to my last dollars, all that kind of stuff. I made it stretch a little bit, but I'm making ends meet. I'm doing, some MC work for Nike, with
Okay.
John Sally, this one-on-one basketball tournament called Nike Battleground, you know what I mean, which was aired on MTV. So I'm doing that kind of work. I'm doing, like all-star weekends for the NBA, things like that. But
Okay.
it's not coming like it was, you know what I mean? So we finally get down to our last $7. And I tell this testimony all the time, man. We get down to our last $7. I'm a spiritual cat, man. And so, I'm really just like, yo, God, you got to take care of this because, still being active, I'm making records. Matter of fact, Marlon Wayans funds a single that I do. Shout out to Marlon, you know what I mean? Like he went to Howard too, real good friend of mine. He executive produced, should I say, funded, this record that I did called Ready, Willing, and Able. We put that out. We got it circulating and stuff like that. Just really trying to keep my hand in the music at the time, but doing it independently. But again, we get down to the last $7. I go to church, man. I put the $7 in the collection plate.
Wow.
And really,
but mind you, it was $7. It was $7 though. It wasn't no, you know what I mean? That it was 7 for a reason. That meant something though. But go ahead.
Think about that number.
Yeah.
I'm about to, you know what I'm saying? For people that haven't heard this story, I'm about to blow your mind real quick. So I put the $7 in the plate. What else was I gonna do with it? I could have got a burger, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't get a pack with $7. That's not gonna happen. I'm not taking nothing on consignment. I'm not doing that. I did that already. You know what I mean? So it's really just a act of faith. Help me out. So I get a phone call a week later after that from Wayne Barrow. Wayne Barrow is Mark Pitt's cousin. You know what I'm saying? By Storm. We're going back to By Storm. So
all right.
He calls me up and says, yo, Universal Records, they got a check for you, but they don't have an address for you. So, you know what I mean? I got the number to the lady. You can call up and give, them your address, and, they'll send you the check. So I did that. So then a week later, you know what I'm saying? A week later, after I made that call, I get a check in the mail for $7,000.
Okay.
I'm just like, oh, okay. Week after that, I get another
7
check.
G's.
Another check for $57,000.
Okay.
So I'm like, man, listen, that's why I don't really get into arguments about like, God and what you believe and all that stuff. I don't even, when somebody wants to go down that road, I just stop immediately because I know my testimony, you know what I'm saying? So you really can't tell me, nothing, you know what I'm saying? So then that's when it's like, okay, cool. Paid off some debt, paid off my Howard, my Howard bill. I still owe Howard some money. And so now I'm just sitting on some stuff and I got to figure out what the next move is going to be. And so in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I had to get a job. You know what I mean? I'm moving furniture now. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving furniture, but I'm sitting on something for me to be able to parlay into something else. And so that something else was the revelation of going back to school and understanding this game from a business perspective. You know what I mean? As opposed to, you know what I'm saying, just being in front of the mic. You know what I'm saying? Now it's time to get behind the mic to not only help myself, but help others in the game that didn't really get the guidance that I thought I should have gotten. You know what I mean? But I take full responsibility for every move that I made because, I made the decision. These are the decisions that were made by me, but these are the decisions that were made that got me to this place right here. You know what I'm saying? So it was, you know what I mean? Whether it was planned or not, it wasn't my plan, but it was the divine design. You dig me?
I feel you.
So I went to law school, man, in 2003. Graduated 2006. Got my JD in 2006. Passed the bar in 2007. And so I've been a licensed attorney.